$1,000 to spend. And you want to start your filmmaking career, but you don't know what gear to buy. If you need hard drives, SD cards, audio gear, camera gear, light stands, tripods, you don't know what to buy. Yo, what's up guys and gals, Jacob Krosh from TB10 Studios here, where today I want to tell you what I would personally buy if I had $1,000 budget. And I wanted to spend under $1,000, so I had a little bit of wiggle room, some extra money left over. So let's get right into the video. So, you got $1,000. That's great. It's a great thing to start off with. And that's more than I started off with. But everything that's on this list will cost under $1,000. In fact, I believe what I calculated was about $740 worth of gear. So you have just enough money to maybe get some extra SD cards, maybe another lens if you want, or save it up for different gear like a monitor or other sound equipment or lighting equipment. So let's first talk about the camera. Now obviously if you got $1,000 budget, you're not going to be shooting on a camera like I have, like the Nikon D4, because that itself uses about $1,200. I was fortunate enough to get it free, but you wouldn't be using a camera like this. You would probably be going for something used on eBay. And so I have two suggestions that are really great cameras that give you full manual control and are really good for beginners. The second one is a personal favorite of mine, and in fact I'm trying to get a hold of one hopefully tomorrow, which I'm recording this on a Wednesday. I will be able to get my hand on one and we can mess around with it and I can teach you how to make the most out of this budget camera. So the first option would be the Panasonic GH2. Now this is about a decade-old camera. It's old, but it still shoots incredible high-resolution 1080p images with, I believe, a max frame rate of 30 frames per second and an incredible codec writing speed. So you're getting a lot of data and a lot less compression in that 1080p image. Now it's a micro four thirds sensor, so it's got a 2x crop. So what is let's say you're running on a 25mm lens, that's the equivalent of a 50mm lens, like what I'm using right now. That's not exactly ideal. Not everyone likes crops, and that's why I shoot in full frame. But it's still an incredible camera. It's got really good colors, but the only issue is the menu system feels kind of ancient, so it will take some time to get used to. But once you're used to it, you'll be perfectly fine. Another great thing about this is it's a micro four thirds mount. So you have a lot of third-party lens choices, a lot of budget lens choices that won't break the bank. This camera will cost between $150 to $250 on eBay. Now the second camera is a personal favorite of mine. Some of my favorite filmmakers started out on this, like Parker Walbeck and DSLR Guide. This is the Canon Rebel T3i. This came out in 2010, so it's about 12 years old now. 2 years actually older than the camera I'm using right now. It's got an APS-C sensor, so it's a 1.6x crop, shoots 1080p at 30 frames per second, and 720p at 60 frames per second. The only issue with this is it's got a more compressed bitrate when filming, so you have a little bit less range when you're trying to color grade in post-production, which is kind of an issue, but just don't use LUTs, do a custom grade, and you'll be fine. It gives out a clean image with a smaller crop factor, and it has a bunch of third-party lens support and incredible first-party lens support, and also has some hacks. Even the GH2 has some hacks, but they're kind of harder to install and mess with. But the hack Magic Lantern for the Canon T3i and all Canon DSLRs is absolutely incredible. Gives you full range. It kind of turns your DSLR camera into a cinema camera. You have zebras, peaking, you have so many different things that you can mess with for free that you can just install onto your camera. Now, not all the cameras really like Magic Lantern, so you do risk the chance of breaking it, but that's with any hack. You can just reinstall your original firmware off the Canon website and you should fix it right away if you mess it up installing Magic Lantern. Another great thing about Magic Lantern is you can shoot raw. Now, it won't be full resolution 1080p images that are raw, but it really maximizes the dynamic range. And dynamic range is a major thing. My dad sneezed. Is a major thing when it comes to cameras. The camera that I'm using right now has 12 stops of dynamic range, which is pretty decent and almost standard nowadays. The GH2 has about just under 10 stops of dynamic range, and the Canon Rebel T3i has 10.5 stops of dynamic range, just like the Canon 60D. Now, a great thing about the Canon Rebel T3i is the flip-out screen. It's the most sacred thing. Everyone loves it for its flip-out screen. Now, this camera costs around $80 to $250 on eBay. I found one for about $170, and that's what I'm trying to pick up tomorrow. I have to check if it works or not. Yeah, but it's a great camera, and it comes with an 18 to 55 millimeter kit lens. Another camera that is a little bit more expensive if you want to spend a little bit more money would be the T4i, which is the first touchscreen version, pretty much. It's the T3i, but with a touchscreen. There's literally no difference. It's just a touchscreen. Now let's talk about audio. Now the audio setup that I'm using right now is really budget, and I love using it. It's incredible. It gives an incredible sound that I personally really, really like. Usually I use a lavalier microphone, but I'm trying out this new shotgun mic. I've had it for a while, but I just never really used it. So what I would suggest is not plugging your microphone directly into your camera, because Canon and Panasonic preamps are pretty garbage. So I would use an external sound recorder. Now, I originally had a Canon DSLR, the Rebel T3, that only shot 720p, and that's why I needed to upgrade. But the preamps were garbage in there, so that's why I upgraded to the Zoom H1N sound recorder. You can get it for about $120 on Amazon. It is incredible. It's got it's got a stereo built-in microphone, and it's just incredible noise floor. It gives some high quality sound, and I'm actually considering buying a second one. I love it, and I don't think I'll ever need to upgrade it until years to come. This thing has lasted me 4 years, and I love it. I love it. I use it on my more professional shoots all the time. Then what I have plugged into that is the actual shotgun microphone, the Takstar SGC 598, which is a $35 microphone. It gives out a pretty clean sound. I do need to lower it slightly in post-production due to the higher tones that it gives out, and I personally like a deeper and raspier tone for my voice and for my audio, but it's all up to personal preference. A lot of the audio changes in post-production anyway, but overall it gives a pretty good sound, especially for the price. $35, it gives an incredible sound, and in total that costs about, let's see, $120 plus $35, $155 is totally worth the money. Absolutely worth the money. Now the next thing that I would consider purchasing is a light. I'm currently using a Neewer, I never pronounce this company's name right. I'm sorry, Neewer, I believe, SB60, which is a 60 watt studio, continuous studio light that cost me about $150 on Amazon. Totally, or $150 to $170 on Amazon. Really worth it. It's got a dimming knob, and it shoots daylight light. I love it. I use it all the time. I'm using these white curtains next to me to bounce the light off, so I moved them. I can't move them. That was a good sneeze. But it's just overall an incredible light. I currently have it set to 40% power, and it's very bright. It's very bright. And I have 2 layers of diffusion on it to make it a softer light, so I'm not being brutally attacked by light. I have this studio light hooked up to a Amazon Basics light stand, and you can get 2 of them for about $35 on Amazon. Totally worth it. I'm using another one right here to hold up my boom arm, which is kind of a makeshift thing between 2 different I don't even know what to call it. It's an Amazon Basics light stand with a clamp connected to another light stand, which has the microphone connected on top of it, and then the Zoom H1 taped to it. It's really DIY, but I would just buy a boom pole at that point. I just buy a boom pole. This system just works for me until I get a boom pole, but it's great. It's great. Another thing is I would suggest getting a tripod. Now, if you're getting the smaller cameras like the Panasonic GH2 or the Canon Rebel T3i, a thin and relatively lightweight tripod will work perfectly fine for you. I actually had to upgrade to the Manfrotto 3130. I actually had to upgrade to the Manfrotto 3130 heavy-duty tripod because of how heavy my camera is. The Nikon D4 is a big prosumer DSLR, so it is quite heavy. It's about 8 pounds. So my the thinner tripod wasn't able to hold the weight for it. Now, the tripod that I would suggest is actually the one I first got is the Sunpack Ultra 6000 PG. It is really lightweight and it's great for any camera that is pretty much under 5 pounds. So the GH2 or the Canon Rebel T3i. It's great, super lightweight, love it. I use it for a bunch of shoots. I actually hate lugging around the super heavy tripod that I use this camera for. So in total, you're spending, let's see here, let's do calculations. In total, you are spending $735, which is great. You saved a lot of money actually. And you can spend more of that money if you buy Canon. If you bought like the Canon camera, you can invest in the Canon 50mm 1.8. That's an incredible lens, super sharp. I love 50mm lenses. In fact, I'm shooting on one right now. I'm shooting on the Nikon Nikkor 50mm 1.4 G lens. Incredible lens. I love it to death. But Canon's 50mm is incredible. I think you can get it for about $200. It's quite expensive. But also, Yongnuo, I think that's how you pronounce it, Yongnuo. I can never pronounce this company's name. It's actually where I got their 50mm lens, which is meant for EF mount. It's identical to the Canon one, and I personally think there's no difference, and you can get that for like $40 on Amazon, $40 to $50 on Amazon. Personally, I prefer the look out of the Yongnuo over the Canon, although the autofocus on the Yongnuo is not as good as the Canon one. So it really depends on if you're using autofocus or not. But if you're doing talking head videos like this, you don't need autofocus. I mean, it's useful. Like, I don't use autofocus. I'm using manual focus right now. I just try not to move my head too much. So that's my suggestion for if you have a $1,000 budget and you want to start filmmaking. So thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe. Click that notification bell to be notified of all of our new content. I love making these videos, and I know you guys enjoy watching them. So thank you all. Thank you so much. We're almost at 200 subscribers. I think we need just 6 more. If we can get just 6 more subscribers, that would be awesome, and I'll make the 200 subscriber video. I'm working on a video called How to Master the Film Look. It will be out in hopefully a few weeks. I am working really hard on this, and I'm trying to pretty much do a crash course on how to get the film look on any camera. The basics of lighting, camera settings, composition, audio, performance, all of that, all into one video that will hopefully really help you. So thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.